I'm in Kingston, which is southwest London. At the moment, I'm head of ICT at Kingston Grammar School. I'm also a writer and teacher advisor for the Guardian Teacher Network, which is part of the Guardian website. For those of you who are not in the UK and don't know what that is, the Guardian is like a national broadsheet newspaper. And as I say, the Guardian Teacher Network is part of the website that they have alongside their newspaper.
Very good, that's lovely. And Matt, if you could tell us, why did you become a teacher and how long have you been a teacher for?
I've been a teacher, it feels like it's been the whole life, but about 7 years. And I think I became a teacher because I thought I could make a difference. I know that sounds cheesy, that's what everybody else says, but I just thought I had something to offer to support students and enrich their enjoyment of school, basically. My brother's a teacher, my mum's a teacher, and I just felt it was like a calling. It felt like the right thing to do.
Very good. And what age are the pupils that you're engaging with, Matt?
I'm in a school that's 11 to 18. So I teach most of those year groups, but predominantly I teach ICT to first, second and third years, which is year 7, 8 and 9. And I also do things like PSHE with 4th and 5th years and a few things as well with the sixth form. But my ICT teaching is first, second, third year students.
Very good.
So 11 to 13 basically is my main year groups.
Lovely. And according to your biography, you have a particular interest and are very experienced in the use of ICT in the classroom. Can you give us some examples of how you use ICT in the classroom and what sort of feedback do you get from your pupils?
Yeah, absolutely. I try and make it as interesting as possible. Try to stay away from, I don't like to just deliver typical, office applications because that is boring and the kids aren't going to enjoy that. So the sort of things I try and teach are, and I've got a little list for me here. I like to do a bit of graphic design with my students, so things like album covers, magazine covers, and we use the Adobe Creative Suite to do that. So, professional software to try and produce professional products. We do some blogging as well. So teach blogging to my first years, so my year 7s. At the moment they're creating a learning blog, so they're blogging about their learning experience through school, which is brilliant. And it's all new to those guys as well, so they're loving it. And what's great as well is that the blogging has spread across other subjects of the school as well. So we've got modern languages are now doing blogging with their kids, and they're actually, even when they go on school trips, they're blogging from abroad as well, which is fantastic. We do a bit of computer science, so things like the computer components, how they work, what they're for, to give students an idea about the devices that they're using. So it'll be computers, smartphones, tablets, all that sort of thing. And I like to cover a little bit about the history of computing as well. For the UK especially, so things like Tim Berners-Lee and Alan Turing and things like that, to give them an idea about what they're doing. One of the favourite things that I do, and the kids lose their mind over this, is programming fundamentals using Kodu. I don't know if you've heard of Kodu before. Microsoft, the gaming visual programming environment. So we teach students fundamental computing and programming by getting them to create their own computer games and video games, and then we talk about how computer games are made and things that you need to consider when talking about level design and things like that, which I love teaching and they love learning. And we do online safety as well, teaching them how to conduct themselves and stay safe in in the digital world that we live in, basically.
Yes.
And the kids love it because they don't do the normal stuff that they may have done in their primary school or in other subjects. It's a whole wide range of things that I think are incredibly useful and really engaging stuff as well.
Very good. And you mentioned there about privacy settings, and I've seen that you do a bit of work with ensuring your pupils are kept safe online. Can you give us a wee example of what you've done regarding the privacy settings on Facebook with your students?
Yeah, I had an issue that loads of students were using Facebook, and they didn't actually know how to sort of protect themselves, how to, what the private settings are even for. And, I'd ask them to put their hands up and say, is your privacy settings up, up to the full amount? Do you know how to use them? And they go, yeah, sir, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I thought, do they? So basically, I just logged into Facebook and we do a whole lesson, go through every single individual setting, the profile settings, all the privacy stuff, things like stopping from getting searched in Google and, all the sorts of stuff like that. And, most, if not all the students didn't actually know all the privacy settings, which is good. And I've actually got, going from what you're talking about with the curriculum and the privacy settings thing, on my blog, not wanting to try and plug it, mattbritland.com, all my resources are on there, and free to download, and they're really useful, give you an idea about what it is that we do.
Very good. And I was looking at your blog that you mentioned there, and you're due to carry out an iPad trial to staff in your school. Can you tell us a wee bit more about that and how you plan to implement it?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had our first lesson today. Period 1 and 2 today was the first lesson, and we used iPads to support teaching and learning, and it went brilliantly. So I'm a happy man. But I think starting from the beginning, and I'll try and make this as brief as possible, I thought that iPads would be great in the classroom to support teaching and learning. I didn't want to go ahead and ask the school to spend, tens of thousands of pounds buying all students an iPads or loads and loads of classroom sets. So I thought, let's plan this and make sure it works before we actually go ahead and spend a lot of money. And I really wanted teachers to be heavily involved with this as well. So they felt like they had ownership over this iPad trial, and they had input, and they could, really get involved in what they were doing, what we wanted to do. So the first thing we did, we bought 2 sets of iPads. We bought one for heads of department. So in a heads of department meeting, which they must have loved, we just gave them iPads. Not to use, not to say, this is yours to keep. And then we did went through our aims and vision for what we wanted to do. So we wanted to use iPads for teaching and learning, and to support students through that, and to improve productivity and things like that. So we sent our heads of department away, said, you've got, I think, £15 to buy apps for each department. So they went ahead and they did some research, and I sent them lots of links and lots of information about subject apps and things like that. And then they allocated an iPad champion from their department, who would take ownership, and they would come up with some ideas for some projects. So that was kind of launching to the heads of department. So we needed them on board. We needed them to see the value of what we were doing. And to launch to the rest of the staff, so we bought a second set, just one class set, and then I organised this kind of like an Apple keynote speech, kind of a keynote event in the theatre in school, and we had all the iPads, we had all wireless connected to a big screen, and we had all the staff together, and we had individual, I think it was 8 or individual talks where other teachers would come on and show them ideas and show them how the iPad would work, and really try to infuse the rest of us have to show them what it is that we would and what it is that you can do with iPads. And it was brilliant because a lot of staff members hadn't used one, didn't really know what it was, and then we had this big event where they sort of, got involved and be able to ask questions and see them used in, in real life, as it were. And then once we'd done that, we asked the champions to come up with an iPad project for their department. And actually, in the 2 weeks that we gave them, which wasn't a lot of time, we had 20 projects. So they really ran with it. And the most telling signs, we went to the staff room after the incident, and there's loads of biscuits and tea on the table, and there's just all these teachers and with iPads loading apps and like thinking about new ways in which they can teach and innovative ways to support teaching and learning and all that. It was brilliant. So we've just started, and hopefully by Easter we'll have finished. Every teacher and student is going to evaluate that project. So at the end of it, we really know what value they have in education and in teaching and learning. So by Easter, hopefully, we'll know the results.
Very good. Well, that is a fantastic example. Thank you very much for that. And I know that you use the iPad, obviously. Do you use any other devices in your classroom, and would you say that there was an all-round favourite?
At the moment, we're focused on iPads with teaching and learning as far as tablet devices are concerned. In the library, we've got in some Kindles to try and encourage more reading to go on, because it's new, a little nice bit of technology. It's light, students love it. Got a Kindle Fire as well in the library, which for me doesn't compare to the iPads. But I mean, the iPad for me is my favourite device. I like using it.
Same here. Very good. And where, Matt, do you see education in, say, 10 years' time from now, or where would you like to see education 10 years from now?
I suppose, speaking as an ICT teacher, I think, and this is going to sound obvious to lots of people listening, but I think technology is going to move at a very fast rate over the next 10 years. And I think things like cloud computing, tablets, even things like Microsoft Connect, things like that, we're going to see a lot more in classrooms, and hopefully they're going to get a little bit cheaper. And I think those people who are coming into teaching are going to need to be savvy when it comes to using technology in productive ways, and they need to embrace it as well and understand that actually this is where things are going to go. So things like distance learning would be great as well. So yeah, I think technology is going to basically, it's kind of just going to take over and rule, and as teachers we need to sort of embrace it. And things like gamification is going to be a big thing as well, making learning fun, even embracing gaming technology. I mentioned Connect and things, just really enthuse students and get them to want to learn, so they're not coming home from their house with their PlayStation or their Connect or their iPad or their laptop and then coming into school to maybe a more traditional environment. And if we embrace it, we can keep up to date. Yes, that sort of thing. And from an ICT teacher as well, we're going to see more computing. It's becoming a bigger deal now in the UK. So we see a lot more computing going on, and as long as we still got some ICT and computing, because they can both work alongside each other, I think we got a bright future, I think.
Very good, very good. And finally then, Matt, our final question for you today is if you could, for us, sum up education in one word.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it?
Everybody says that.
Yeah, I thought this. You know what? I think I would go for exciting.
Exciting. Very good.
Education is such an exciting field to work in, and especially the field I work in, changes almost every day. So yeah, it's just a really exciting thing to work at. Every day is different. All the students you meet are different. The staff. It's just an exciting place to work at the moment.